It's been exactly 30 days of an eyelid journey. I have been diligently, twice daily, applying an eyelid serum. Has it dramatically changed my life? We're gonna find out. This particular product is one that a lot of people swear up and down is like their holy grail, pry it from my cold dead hands. Whereas other people are like, I paid that much money for that, it didn't do anything. This was sent to me. It's NIOD's Fractionated Eye Contour Concentrate. And it is essentially a peptide serum to improve the appearance of fine lines around the eyes. It's got palmitoyl heptapeptide 18 plus palmitoyl hexapeptide 52. These two peptides together, they kind of are in the family of peptides, sort of like argireline, which this also has as a side note, which are peptides that allegedly are going to act like Botox, get in and disrupt the signals, the neuromuscular junction to relax the muscles of facial movement so that you have a reduction over time in expression lines, like the little crow's feet around your eyes. It takes a huge leap of faith, however, to really believe that. Remember, these are cosmetic ingredients. We don't have aggressive, rigorous, well-controlled, well-powered studies. We have cosmetic data, which is a little more fluffy, but when we have data on a cosmetic ingredient, we take what we can get with the caveat that, you know, this isn't a drug, it's a cosmetic. Allegedly, this duo can help reduce the appearance of expression lines by 20%. Those results were observed after 28 days of daily use. This also has 10% matrixyl synth 6, another Botox in a bottle-like ingredient. It's at 10%, but the studies that we do have show that using it at 2% strength daily for 2 months resulted in a reduction in wrinkles by anywhere from 30% all the way out to 100%. This particular peptide allegedly is going to help to improve production of things in the deeper layers of the skin, like certain collagens, fibronectin, hyaluronic acid, which, you know, we talk about applying hyaluronic acid to the skin to improve water content in the outermost layers of the epidermis. But a lot of where hyaluronic acid's power comes from in our actual skin, not just stuff that we put on, is where it is in the deeper layers in the dermis. In fact, that's really what filler injections are aiming to replenish, to replace. By putting hyaluronic acid into the deeper layers of the skin directly, you get a wrinkle erasing effect. So in theory, over time, using this particular peptide might actually potentially improve hyaluronic acid production in the deeper layers of the skin, as well as collagen to smooth out wrinkles. This also has Synake, a peptide I've talked about in other reviews of peptide serums, which again allegedly acts in this sort of expression line wrinkle smoothing effect by relaxing the muscles. 4% Synake used daily for 28 days allegedly resulted in a 21% smoother appearance to wrinkles. And again, there's acetyl hexapeptide 8, which is argireline. That is, you know, the original, if you will, Botox in a bottle, although there are a lot of other peptides, as we've just discussed, that kind of act in a similar fashion. Now, in addition to these peptides, this particular serum also has superoxide dismutase, which is an enzyme naturally present in our skin that helps to fight off superoxide-free radicals that damage proteins, lipids, nucleic acid in our skin and contribute to the skin aging process, as well as inflammation, irritation, or redness. And a lot of this is brought out when we are exposed to certain environmental aggressors like ultraviolet radiation and, of course, pollution. But will applying an enzyme to the skin reproduce the antioxidant effect that superoxide dismutase an enzyme is supposed to have? It's hard to say for sure, okay? A lot of the research behind this ingredient comes from cells in a dish, but there is a study on human volunteers with topical application of superoxide dismutase that shows promise in that people have less overall redness after exposure to ultraviolet radiation. So great. Does that actually mean it helped neutralize superoxide free radicals? Question mark. It could just be helpful for calming the skin, but that's not such a bad effect either. These studies also suggest that the topically applied superoxide dismutase was performed better than topical vitamin E or topical magnesium ascorbyl phosphate, a stable form of vitamin C, another antioxidant. Then you've got a bunch of other peptides: palmitoyl decapeptide 21, zinc palmitoyl nonapeptide 14, decapeptide 32, and oligopeptide 78. All of these, you know, allegedly may help help in improving the production of collagens, things in the deeper layers of the skin to have that wrinkle smoothing effect. I'm telling you guys all of the nitty-gritty about the different peptides in this because I think it's interesting and compelling and where, more research is needed. But at the end of the day, my opinion has always been that a lot of the benefit observed with using topical peptides might also just be related to the fact that they help improve water retention in the outermost layers, helping to essentially smooth out what a lot of people refer to as dehydration lines. When the skin is dry, you see those little fine lines. Even little fine lines and static wrinkles, meaning wrinkles that are present when you're not moving the muscles, the appearance of those can be diminished. The depth of them can be lessened simply by applying hydrating ingredients, whether it be peptides, glycerin, hyaluronic acid. It improves that water content, plumping things up and smoothing out the surface of the skin. Plus, by improving the water content in the outermost layer, a lot of people don't realize this. The end result when you do that consistently over time is that the epidermis starts to do its natural exfoliating processes efficiently. With age, we have a decline in water content in the outermost layer due to a decline in barrier function and moisture retaining compounds, natural moisturizing factors. And as a result, the enzymes necessary to help exfoliate the skin, they don't work as well. They require good water content in order to operate. So that's kind of a downstream benefit of moisturizing the skin, no matter the ingredient family. I also want to point out that this has niacinamide, a B vitamin that is very helpful for redness. It's helpful for the skin barrier, and it can help with hyperpigmentation, whether it be post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation or maybe you have some sunspots around the eyes. You might notice with consistent use of niacinamide that you get some fading of that. Niacinamide helps to get in the way of the transfer of pigment packets from melanocytes, the pigment producing cells, the cells that make melanin. They make it and then it gets transferred to the surrounding skin cells, the keratinocytes. And niacinamide can kind of get in the way of that, helping to improve hyperpigmentation. However, a lot of people comment in my videos that they find niacinamide burns, stings, and is irritating to their skin. If that's you, it's likely going to be a significant issue when you're putting it to delicate eyelid skin where penetration is going to be greater. Which brings me to my other point that I don't think I emphasized enough at the start of the video. Eyelid skin is very delicate, and so things will penetrate to a more meaningful level around the eyes. In addition to niacinamide though, this also has some green tea polyphenols, not specifically mentioned in a lot of the promotional materials for this product. Epigallocatechan gallate is a polyphenol and antioxidant from green tea that actually has been shown to be helpful for mitigating some of the damage to the skin upon exposure to ultraviolet radiation from the sun. This product is intended to minimize the appearance of fine lines. It claims to visibly brighten dark circles, and I'll touch on that in a moment, and to provide instant and long-lasting hydration, and to yield a smoother eye contour, as well as reduce puffiness. So, like I said, I've been using this twice a day. You don't need very much. You're going to apply it to the eyelid skin after cleansing as sort of the first step in your skincare routine before any other eye cream or moisturizer that you might use around your eyelids. You don't need very much, if I didn't already say that. I was able to use 1 drop per eye on my finger, and no, you don't have to use a ring finger to pat it in. You can use whatever finger is easiest for you, and you really only need a drop to nicely create a thin film on the lower eyelid and the upper eyelid. But be really careful about getting this within roughly 1 millimeter of the lash line, because if it gets into your eye, it burns. It burns. It's a nuisance if that happens. So don't use too much, and don't allow it to seep into your eyes by getting it too close to the lash line. What have I noticed using this? Not a ton of difference in the appearance of my eyelids, the skin around my eyes. I will say that I noticed that my eye contour area, out where the crow's feet are, appears smoother, brighter, firmer, but my expression wrinkles look the same. Little fine lines, less obvious than had I put nothing there, not any more diminished than when I use my favorite product to use around the eyes, a glycerin skin protectant. I've raved about, for example, La Roche-Posay's Cicaplast gel and Prequel skin utility gel. In my experience, I get very similar results in terms of diminishing little fine lines, the dehydration lines especially, and brightening up and smoothing out out the contour around my eyes where the crow's feet area is. But this product with the peptides, while it achieves that, and it does actually lead to sustained hydration like it claims, because again, a lot of it, in my opinion, likely relates to the moisture retaining properties of peptides. I also have noticed that I have a reduction in those little fine lines, but it's not strikingly different than what I would observe with the glycerin skin protectant. Let's talk about the visibly brightened dark circles. If your dark circles are truly due to melanin pigment, maybe you have post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation around the eyes, under the eyes from, say, eczema, or maybe you just have a lot of sun damage in that area that have discolored the surface of the skin and make it appear dark and discolored, then yeah, this can help that. But a lot of what leads to dark circles has to do with, first of all, just the shape of your eye socket. You know, you're gonna get more hollowing under the eyes. Also with age, keep in mind, under eye hollows become more prominent with the aging process because we get bone resorption around the eye socket, and we also get descent of our cheek. So that makes those hollows more prominent. It also stretches the under eye skin such that the underlying blood vessels are more obvious and have that dark appearance. And some people are born with pigmentary demarcation lines around the eyes. Those are kind of related to your genetic makeup and are unlikely to go away with a peptide serum, a niacinamide product. Now, the moisture retaining properties of this, simply the act of moisturizing the under eye skin, definitely can lead to brighter appearing under eyes and a subtle improvement in the appearance of dark circles, but that is explained by moisture retention improvements in the outermost layer that just allows for light scattering to brighten up that area. And like I said, I definitely notice my under eye area a lot brighter when I'm using that glycerin skin protectant. Did I see that effect with this? A little bit. Now, the claim to reduce under eye puffiness seems like quite a reach in my opinion. Under eye puffiness, a lot of it is related to accumulation of fluid in that delicate area, and that can become more obvious with age due to shifts in the tissues around the eyes. Again, that bone resorption, you have shifts in fat around the eyes, and the one ingredient that actually shows promise for under eye puffiness improvement is caffeine. Not everyone responds to caffeine, however, for under eye puffiness. It seems like from the small research that we have, which is very limited, that not everyone in the study responded to topical caffeine. But the other simple game changer for under eye puffiness is simply applying a gel or any kind of eye product for that matter that is cool. Just the cool temperature alone can help to reduce puffiness. So if you have really prominent under eye puffiness, before you go reaching for a product to improve that, you really want to understand why you have the puffiness. But here's the thing, this product, you guys, is $70 for 15 ml. Now, like I said, this was gifted to me. I'm very appreciative of that. Would I go out of my way to repurchase this at $70? No. For me personally, I have not seen a huge difference in the way that my eye area looks using this compared to the glycerin skin protectant. And therefore, I would be more inclined to just continue using that and not pay the big bucks for this. That being said, this bottle should last a while. I would say 4 months. If you are interested in trying it, I would say really evaluate what your expectations are. And I would say consider holding off until November, because I want to say that NIOD has a big Black Friday month sale all throughout November. That would be a better time to maybe get it if you're interested in trying it. But it is a good product. It does what it says it's supposed to do for the most part. It's just very expensive. You know, skincare products, they really can only do so much. And you really have to have some sense of what it is you're dealing with around the eyes that you are hoping this product will address, and set your expectations accordingly. If you have significant laxity around the eye area, a lot of redundancy, shadowing related to that, this is not likely going to give you dramatic results, and you may feel as though your money was wasted, or that your money would have been better spent seeking out a cosmetic dermatologist or a cosmetic ophthalmologist to talk about treatments around the eye to improve the look of eyelid skin and the under eye area. There are a lot of different procedures, cosmetic procedures, treatments, etc., that can rejuvenate the appearance of the skin around the eyes. Might be a better use of your money than pursuing a $70 serum. Anyway, y'all, I hope this video was informative to you guys. Stay tuned because I'm going to be reviewing their copper amino isolate serum and also their copper amino isolate lipid. Those of you who watch the vlogs, you know I've been dabbling in these as well to the rest of my face, and I'm going to review them for you all, so make sure you stay tuned for that video. They also sent these to me, but I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If so, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye!